The Korean Peninsula has been fought over and occupied for centuries. It is today a divided land, a relic of the Cold War. Separated at the 38th parallel at the end of World War II, the US backed the South, or Republic of Korea. In the north, the Democratic People's Republic, the Soviets installed Kim Il-sung, the first of a family dynasty that still rules today. On June 25, 1950, Kim invaded the South.
South Korean villages awoke to a world suddenly filled with noise and plague. The communists, made bold by months of small-scale raiding across the 38th parallel, had finally launched their undeclared, all-out war of conquest.
It triggered a bloody conflict that drew in US-led United Nations forces, including Australians. In the first year of fighting, the southern capital of Seoul fell several times. American soldiers beat back the north, but China intervened. Hundreds of thousands of troops propping up Kim's forces, forcing a US retreat and forging an unbreakable bond between China and the DPRK.
The UN was facing a new enemy in Korea, and a new war had begun. The Chinese rolled swiftly southward, splitting the Allied line and cutting off Marine and 7th Division troops in the east near the Chosin Reservoir.
The Korean War raged on for 3 years. 5 million people were killed, half of them civilians. An armistice was eventually signed on July 27, 1953, but there has been no peace treaty.
I believe that we must try to limit the war to Korea for these vital reasons: to make sure that the precious lives of our fighting men are not wasted, to see that the security of our country and the free world is not needlessly jeopardized, and to prevent a third world war.
In the 1960s, confrontation continued in what many refer to as a second Korean War. Several hundred were killed on both sides of the demilitarized zone. In 1969, 31 people died when North Korea shot down an aircraft over the Sea of Japan, in the largest single loss of US aircrew during the Cold War.
Panmunjom is a reminder that a state of war still technically exists. Here the Military Armistice Commission meets, the agency established to supervise the truce terms. It hears complaints about breaches of the armistice agreement, that is, reports of firefights and infiltrations in the area of the demilitarized zone. Today, the 291st meeting of the Military Armistice Commission is being held here at Panmunjom. Today's meeting is ending as usual with stalemate. But one obvious advantage of the meetings is that they act as a safety valve. Both sides can let off steam. And it's thought, therefore, that as long as they continue, no major outbreaks of hostilities will occur.
In the 70s, while many in the West laughed along to popular Korean War TV show MASH, the Korean Peninsula remained riddled with conflict and in a state of permanent tension. In 1976, 2 US Army officers were killed by North Korean soldiers for cutting down a tree at Panmunjom in what's known as the Axe Murder Incident.
The attack occurred on the United Nations side of the 38th parallel.
The death of Kim Il-sung in 1994 passed leadership to his son Kim Jong-il. Hopeful signs soon evaporated. Korea endured crippling famine, remained cut off from the world, but poured its money into its military, including a nuclear weapons program. Sanctions haven't worked. Multinational talks have failed. North Korea has an arsenal of perhaps as many as 60 nuclear weapons. It has long-range missiles that could reach the US or Australia, and it regularly threatens to use them. A third generation of the Kim dynasty, the youthful Kim Jong-un, now presides over a rogue nuclear power. Donald Trump tried insult and threat.
Little rocket man. He may be smart, he may be strategic, and he may be totally crazy. But you know what? No matter what he is, we're going to handle it, folks, believe me.
Then, one-on-one talks. Despite much theatre and fanfare, the US president even stepping over the border into the north, it came to little. Trump is gone. Another American president, Joe Biden, now faces an old enemy in a war without end.